Schrödinger's cat was a joke. The real meaning will break your brain. Most famous cat in the history of science never existed. It had no name, no breed, and the man who invented it never wanted you to believe it was real. In 1935, physicist Erwin Schrödinger was furious. Quantum physics was beginning to dominate science, and physicists like Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg were making a claim that sounded completely insane. They said reality does not fully exist until it is observed, not metaphorically, literally. At the quantum level, particles could exist in multiple states at once. A particle could move left and right simultaneously, spin up and spin down simultaneously. Exist as probabilities. Instead of facts, they called this superposition. Schrödinger hated it. He believed physics was supposed to describe reality, not replace it with mathematical hallucinations, so he decided to embarrass the entire field with one absurd example, a joke, a trap, a scientific troll designed to make his colleagues look ridiculous forever. And instead, it became the single most famous image in modern science. Here's the setup. Imagine a sealed steel box. Inside the box is a cat. Also inside, a radioactive atom, a Geiger counter, a hammer, and a flask of poison. If the atom decays, the detector activates, the hammer drops, the poison releases, the cat dies. But quantum mechanics says something terrifying. Before anyone opens the box, the atom exists in a superposition, both decayed and not decayed at the same time. And if the atom is in both states, then the entire system must also exist in both states, meaning the cat is mathematically both alive and dead simultaneously. Not maybe alive, not unknown, both at the same time. Schrödinger thought this idea was so ridiculous that nobody could possibly accept it. He believed the thought experiment would expose a fatal flaw in quantum mechanics. Instead, physicists looked at the cat and quietly realized the math still worked. That was the horrifying part. The equations did not break, which meant something far worse. The universe was either broken or human intuition was. And over time, the joke stopped being a joke. The cat became the mascot of quantum reality itself. And that terrified physicists for one reason. If quantum mechanics works for a cat, then where exactly does normal reality begin? Because hidden inside the cat experiment is a question science still cannot fully answer even in 2026. What actually counts as an observer? Does the box count? Does the detector count? Does the cat count? Does consciousness itself collapse reality into existence? Because if consciousness matters, then the universe has been hiding one final variable inside every experiment: awareness itself. Physicists still argue about this. Some believe reality splits into parallel universes where both outcomes happen. Some believe hidden variables determine the result before observation. Others believe observation is simply interaction, not consciousness at all, which means the most famous experiment in physics was never really about the cat. It was about reality itself, about whether the universe exists as a fixed object or as a cloud of possibilities waiting for witnesses. And then came the twist. Schrödinger never saw coming. Humanity started building machines based entirely on the absurd idea he mocked: quantum computers. These systems use qubits instead of normal binary bits. A normal computer stores a 0 or a 1A. Qubit can exist as both 0 and 1 simultaneously through superposition. In other words, modern civilization is now engineering technology powered by the exact paradox Schrödinger invented to prove quantum mechanics was broken. His sarcasm became infrastructure. His joke became an industry worth billions. Imagine discovering fire by trying to prove fire wasn't real. The cat won, and the deeper scientists looked, the stranger reality became. Experiments revealed particles linked across impossible distances through entanglement, particles appearing to choose. A past after measurements are made quantum states surviving in larger and larger objects once thought impossible. The line between science fiction and laboratory evidence started dissolving. For the first time in history, humanity began watching probability collapse into reality in real experiments. The disturbing part is this: Schrödinger may have lost the argument, but he may still have been right to fear the answer. Because maybe reality is not solid underneath. Maybe certainty itself is just a human survival instinct. Maybe the universe is not made of objects at all, but of information, interaction, and probabilities waiting to crystallize. And nearly a century later, the cat is still trapped in that box. Half alive, half dead, half metaphor, half warning. Schrödinger wanted certainty. Instead, he gave humanity a universe where observation changes existence itself, a universe that behaves perfectly normal. Until you look too closely, and maybe that is the real reason the cat never died. Because every generation opens the box again, hoping reality will finally make sense, and every generation finds the same thing inside, a paradox staring back at, them. The question was never whether the cat was dead or alive. The real question is this. If reality only becomes definite when observed, then what was the universe doing before anything existed to look at it? And if observation creates reality, what happens when nobody is looking?